That is amazing. We are live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to wait a minute or so just for folks to join. Mike and I are just sitting here since we're
Morning.
professionals now, talking about the stressors of coding and making Chrome extensions and all of the different things that go into it. If we've got any developers here, I know you can probably attest. Oh, Alicia's here. Hi, Alicia. I know you can probably attest that it is not objective. Mike and I were just chatting about the idea of, oh, if it works, it should be done. You did the thing, but there's still 1,000 opinions on the way to build things. So yeah, Mike and I are just currently grieving that. Yes, Lena's here. Hello. I'm super excited. Where in the world are you today, Mike?
So I'm on the west coast of Costa Rica on the Pacific coast, and it's after a day of quite heavy rain yesterday. It's nice and sunny today, so that's good.
Is it super humid there? Like, do you like still feel the rain even though it's gone?
To be honest, this side not so humid. I actually felt a bit cold this morning, which
Okay.
didn't really do. It's in the sort of high 80s, early 90s. Notice I went American there with the Fahrenheit thing.
I was gonna say, look at you. You're going into Fahrenheit. Wow.
Yeah, it's on the side that's it's wet season, so it's always a little bit humid, but it's in the tropical dry zone, so it's not quite as humid as the other side where it's like pure rainforest and humidity is close to 100% all the time. So, but
yeah, cool.
It's a pretty cool place.
Nice, very cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm heading out in a few days. Going to go to London and Scotland. So I'm leaving the Baton Rouge Bayou heat and getting who knows what kind of weather in Scotland. I've been told it could be hot, could be cold. Who knows?
Yeah, it's. I've been to Scotland in both scenarios, and it is beautiful even if the weather's bad, but it becomes quite miserable when it rains sort of all day, every day. But if you do get the sun there, it is absolutely stunning. So fingers crossed for you. And I don't know if you're going to continue, but like for the last 2 or 3 months, they've had excellent weather over in the UK. They keep telling us that they're getting better weather than I am. So
yeah, my friend was telling me that. She said that, that's literally my friend who's from London, but like lives in Amsterdam right now. Just said generally like all of like kind of Europe right now is having like unseasonably good weather. And it's just like, ooh, okay. It's just, I don't know. It's,
it can change.
So,
with England, it can change anytime. So yeah,
exactly. It'll change anytime. Yeah. Hopefully I don't bring my American juju over there and it ruins everything. I hope.
Probably not going to get any tornadoes or anything like that though. So that's something to.
Yeah, that's good. No hurricanes, hopefully. Alrighty. Well, I'll go ahead and kick us off, folks. For those joining us today, I am here to talk about a fun little thing I've been doing in some of my free time since, I get bored so easily and have so much free time. But I decided to try to start developing Chrome extensions. And most of you who know me know that I work for Pixibricks, which is a Chrome extension itself that creates automations in your browser. And the number one question I've been asked is, why haven't you made these with Pixibricks? And the answer is because there's 1,000 things that are way easier to do with Pixibricks. But I managed to find 2 niche things that actually were easier to just make AI go kind of coach and sort it out. So I feel like right now I'm like a Discover credit card commercial where it's like, or no, MasterCard, where it's like, for everything else, there's Pixibricks. Like, for everything else, there's MasterCard. But so here's 2 niche examples where I'm in the Chrome extension universe, sans Pixibricks. But for everything else, there's Pixibricks. Yeah, Lori says free time. Yeah, exactly. Not really free time. It's more of Mike and I have this condition where we don't have free time and we just get our heads obsessed with completely random things that don't matter, but we decide we have to figure them out anyways. And it leads to fun stuff like this, doesn't it, Mike? Like it's part of the adventure.
Yeah, I mean, the free time is generally at the cost of something we should actually be doing. So we just have an idea, and what normally happens is we then kind of think, oh, I could quickly look at that, and then sink hours into trying to figure it out, and eventually do it.
Exactly, and that's kind of what led to this. So so basically this might be a shorter live stream than usual. I'm just planning to kind of show off some of the things I made. I'll explain where they came from, how they work, how you can use them if you want. They're totally free. I'm not trying to make money off of these. They're purely like fun projects that I wanted to share because I knew other people were looking for. And yeah, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. So feel free to put stuff in the chat. But the genesis of this was, well, I'll start with the first one I made. The genesis of this was I read a lot of books, specifically on Kindle, and I'll highlight quotes, and then I get this email. I can email at the end of the book a list of all of my quotes, and it's like I want to remember these things that I've highlighted, but I don't have a good way to remember them. And I was like, well, what if I put them in a Trello board? And it's like, well, that's great, but what am I going to do from that Trello board? Like, I have plenty, Mike, you probably do too. I have plenty of Trello boards that never see the light of day that I made because it was a good idea, and I just never think to go back to them. And so I was like, well, what if I put these in a Trello board and then just made something that where every time I open a new tab in Chrome, it pulls a card from that board and shows it to me. And that way it's a regular sort of thing, thinking through like sort of a habit sort of loop. It's a regular thing that I'm doing, right? I'm not having to set a reminder to go check a Trello board every day. I'm not having to, change too much behavior. I'm latching onto current behavior, which as a web browser, I'm regularly opening a tab and going to, email, work things like on any given day. We're all opening tabs everywhere, doing things. And I was like, what if in that moment, I just, before I scurried off to do the thing, I briefly, was reminded of a quote. And that was the genesis of this idea where I was like, let's just see. I've been wanting to try out some different sort of AI coding tools, which there's a number of them. I've been using Windsurf, which is probably a more developer heavy one because it's like an IDE, which is what you would describe as like your terminal. And yeah, Lori, that's exactly like daily affirmations tailored to you. That's one of the use cases that I mentioned with it too. It could be like, the content could be literally anything that you want, right? It's just serving Trello cards here. So it could be like reminders to go stretch, or like you said, affirmations, or like motivational quotes. So that was literally my genesis, was like, there's probably multiple things it would be useful for. How hard could it be? And the answer is AI made it not that hard. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about that if folks are curious about that. But you don't need to know anything about what's going on under the hood if you're interested in using this. I'll go ahead and post the link in the chat, but this is my first one. And this is, yeah, it's called Show a Random Trello Card because I couldn't think of a better name. But basically, what you do, you add it to Chrome, and you will need to authorize with it. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So let me just sign out so you can see. Initially, I had it so that you would have to go put in your own API key and tokens and stuff. But don't worry, I got you. I made it easier where now there's just this button here. You can just click that and it's going to open up a pop-up over here. You can't see it, but it's going to open up in a new window and give you a token. And you're going to copy that and hit allow. You're going to hit allow and then copy that token, and you're just going to paste it in here and submit the token. And then it's going to go fetch all of your boards. So you can say which specific board. This is super easy to change. Like if you want, you're like, maybe I want to do book quotes for now, but then I want to do aspirational quotes or something else another day. You can totally change that board very easily. You can even change the background color. I thought this was kind of a fun one to make like different gradients and things. And just anytime you want to go back, literally just click that settings here and you can choose another board, or you can, yeah, choose a different color, whatever you want to do. I have this link here if you have questions or feedback. If you're like, I wish it could do something different, like feel free to use that form. But yeah, literally what it does is every time you open a new tab or refresh a new tab page, it grabs a card on that Trello board. And I have it where it makes the title be the text here and then it shows the list below it. I've been thinking about maybe making an option on settings where you can choose the attribute here. Like maybe you don't want to show the list name, maybe you want to show the board name, or maybe you want to show like the card description or a label or something with that. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, and I can kind of think through how I would do that. But for now, the way I have my board organized is each list is a book, and then each card is a quote. And I actually kind of have a cool process. I actually want to show you all this. I have a cool process with, I'm gonna play screen sharing with ChatGPT here. I actually made a ChatGPT project, and I call it Convert Book Quotes. And basically, for those of you who are familiar with it, Kindle will give you like after you read a book and everything you've highlighted, you can send that to you and it gives you a PDF, literally a list of all of those. And so I have ChatGPT because I can give it files. I tell it that it has a role of basically converting a PDF of Kindle notes and highlighting them into single text break lines so that a user can copy and paste them into a Trello board. Basically, like each quote that was highlighted from the book should appear on its own line with a break between quotes. So if you're like, how do you get those things into the board? It's actually super easy. Let me see if I have an example of a file. Yeah, here we go. American Sky novel. Add this guy. So this is literally just like purely a PDF. Like I don't think it's actually like showing you. And this I only highlighted 2 quotes in this one, so it's pretty straightforward. But I don't even have to add any code. I just literally attach the PDF and run it, and it literally gives this in this format. And so I can say, here's what they are. I can copy them when it's done. And then I can go over to Trello. Let me switch my screen share again. And in case you didn't know, this is actually a really handy quote. When you have multiple lines of content, you can paste it into Trello like this. It included the line break. It probably shouldn't have done that, but it's interesting. So I just put this all as one thing and I hit enter, and it will ask me if I want to create 3 separate cards. So it shouldn't have given me that line break. Of course, that's AI acting up when I told it not to. But and you can see that that's already how it did it before. So it literally takes me 2 minutes, if that, to get the thing from Kindle, download the file, go to ChatGPT, get it to make the list, copy and paste it into here, and I've got my book quotes, and now they just show up whenever I want them to. So, yeah, that's been really fun and useful. And again, one of the things I'm noticing, that Lori, it's not necessarily a GPT. It's called like projects, but yeah, it's kind of like GPT. Like it's the same sort of thing of where there's like a default sort of system prompt that I'm processing through. I don't know why ChatGPT calls it project versus like GPT, but it's like similar sort of thing. Like I can show you here. It's in the like new to do sidebar here. Like technically there's GPTs here and these are like projects. It's similar. I don't know the technical difference behind it, but it's very, very similar. So yeah, so anyways, so that's kind of what I'm doing with that. And yeah, happy to share that prompt if anybody wants. I could probably do that real quick and just put that in the chat. Instructions here. Do save that there. Feel free to copy that if you want. Literally, yeah, they should rename them spaces. Mike is really on one. In case you don't know what Mike's referencing, he's trying to rile up the entire internet by posting about Jira on LinkedIn. Are you having fun with it yet, Mike?
Well, to be honest, I did only have to turn the screw a little bit. Everyone else is already wound up and they're all unloading their. So there's a few people that see it as a positive thing, but yeah, most people are not happy about the change, which I think is
Yeah. Oh,
hilarious.
I'm sure. You'd think they'd have learned from work items, right? You don't change the names of things in Jira. Um,
Yeah, how dare.
and Alicia, yeah, that's actually a great idea about recipes, by the way. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. I'm going to try this
Yeah,
out real
funny
quick and see
enough,
what it does.
Kerry and I were reaching no conclusion about what to have for dinner tonight. And when you were running through this, that was the first thing that came to my head. Like, actually, we've got a board with loads of different recipes on, and having that randomly choose for us would take a lot of the discussion and arguments out of the question.
Yes, I need to kind of restructure my board a little bit because this gives me ideas for features because my meal planning board would need a little bit of help because it could randomly grab things from the shopping list. But and that's a good case where I'd want it to show sort of the description that also has like my recipes and well, I don't always include that. Sometimes it's an attachment. So, but if you had your board structured in the right way, that absolutely would be a great use case for it
Yeah.
to be like,
One little thing that could be a good addition would be I don't think you've got it as a link to the card. So
oh no, I don't. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Um, let me find my actual thing now. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna add this to my feature request board here. So add a link to go to the card. I'm also thinking about a way where like it's not just when you open a new tab, but maybe there's like a sidebar that you can have that does this as well. Just because the one thing that I like and like I don't love about this is just that like half the time I ignore it, if I'm being totally honest. I'm like, I'm opening up a new tab and I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Half the time I do, half the time I don't. but like I want to try to think of some other time when it makes sense because I'm like sometimes like right in the way to do a thing. And it could make more sense if it's like, I don't know, seen me sitting on the same page for 5 minutes or like maybe like if I'm scrolling, I don't know, I don't really scroll social media too much on my computer. It's more on my phone, but like randomly shoots me a quote then or something like that. And it's like, get out of doom scrolling and like come pay attention to this. So um, but yeah, that would my point is with meal planning, that way you could open a new tab and it randomly generate one. Or maybe it's, the type of thing where it you just I don't know, you also could just press the button up here and instead like when right now when you press the button it opens a new tab, which effectively generates a random card, but maybe it just does it as a pop-up instead of opening a new tab. I don't know. So yeah. So that is my first one. That's not even necessarily what I think is the most exciting one because that was more of something I had seen and I was like, this is something I want for me. And then I was like, I've seen this from other people though. Let's see if I can make or I've seen other people wanting something that collapses multiple checklists in Trello because they have this on mobile. And admittedly, it's not something I need a ton, but it's something people were asking for, and I figured out how to do it sort of with Pixie Bricks, where it would collapse all the checklists or none of them. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But people were like, well, I want to do it with individual ones, which makes sense. Couldn't figure out entirely how to do that with Pixie Bricks. I think I could have, if I'd been able to find the right sort of like traversal sort of way through elements, but AI doesn't know Pixie Bricks quite as well yet. Although that is my personal mission. Um, sorry, I'm just reading Alicia's comment. How have you write all of these meals in a moment, steak, etc. Oh, I have a whole post about how I make that meal planning board. Meal planning in Trello. Let me find this post and I'll show you. This is all about how I do that. I have a whole process about meal planning in Trello. It's a whole thing, but basically, yeah, when I make a new recipe, I do have to kind of format it quite right, and then put it in there. But yeah, and my partner loves to cook, so she loves to like put things in there. I have the same recipes. Literally, I've had the same recipes in there for the last like several years in that board. She adds new ones. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a super fun meal planning board. I've been wanting to do more like workshops and stuff with it because I mean, I automate so many things with this, right? Like, and this is like a living, breathing board. So like, I'm on deck for making this tonight, and I have automation, so I could say like when I want to make this meal, it's gonna like build me a shopping list based off the checklist items, and then I can check the shop list items off. When I've made something, it moves it over to like this recently made list, just by again clicking an automation button. So like I made this last night and it actually set a custom field of when it was last made over here and it will stay in this list until a certain amount of time. So when I'm like figuring out new meals for the week, it's just kind of looking in here and I'm just like, I don't have to worry about, oh, I just made that. Like it won't be in the queue, so to speak. So this is one of my favorite Trello boards, honestly, like a super underrated use of Trello where I've literally made a meal planning app. um, I don't use the feature as much as I used to, but this actually would randomly generate meals for me. Like I have buttons on here that it can generate one from each list. It can do one of, pick a quick meal, pick a meat, and it literally just grabs a random card from the list. So yeah, a Chrome extension though, like that just opens it in a new tab would also work too. That way you don't have to remember to go to Trello. You can like kick off your day thinking like, what do I need to do for dinner? Candy corn, right? Doesn't that sound great? Okay, so I haven't made a bunch of things on here. And this winter bear mule look nice too. So yeah, oh, this is another cool feature I have on here where I can say find meals with like, I don't know, let's say I have a certain ingredient in the house. Um, let's see, if I just say like I have heavy whipping cream, like what am I meant to use that with? It's going to I have automation that will create a checklist of meals with this and it goes and looks through all of the different recipes and just literally grabs, oh, here's all the things that use that ingredient you mentioned. So it's really good for like trying to, I admittedly don't use this as much as I should for as cool as it sounds, but yeah, actually a good reminder for me because literally we do have heavy whipping cream right now, and that's a good reminder of like what else could I use it with right now. So I really should use that more. But yeah, anyways, this is not a Chrome extension. This is just a Trello board, but it's very very cool, very fun here. So again, I posted the link in the chat that has all of the information about how I built this board. I believe it has the link to the template in there too, and like a YouTube video kind of walking through it more. But also reach out to me or comment on this video if you want to chat more about it. Because yeah, maybe I should do a live stream. I did a long time ago. I did a live stream about when I built this, and it was like an hour-long live stream where you see me kind of like humming and hawing as I put it together. And I think it's more fun to see the end result, which is what I linked to in that blog post where like it's like an 8-minute video walking through it. But if you want to see how the sausage was literally made, I do have a live stream video for that. But yeah, okay, so we kind of actually got a preview of it in here. But the second Chrome extension that I made relates to these checklists and collapsing them. And so this one's pretty straightforward and simple to describe. I feel like it's even easier than show a random Trello card. It adds a button to your Trello cards where there's a checklist, and you can collapse them all or you can expand them all, or adds a little button on individual ones where you can toggle collapsing or expanding them. And the best part is it saves. So like when you go back to it, it knows like, oh, we had this one collapsed already. Funman Andy requested a feature where there's maybe like a setting or something where you can say by default everything's collapsed. So yeah, I think I should be able to do that. So I want to try that. That's my next when I get a minute to try to work on and make. But yeah, that one's super easy. This one doesn't require authenticating into Trello at all. You literally just add it and I'll put a link to that one here. But yeah, doesn't require authenticating into Trello at all. Because it's without getting too technical, it's basically just doing some things under the hood. Like your checklists are very much still there. They're just not displayed. Like we're hiding it from the DOM, and then bringing them back when you want. And so that's what that does. And these are totally free. I made let me find it. Where's my little, yeah. I made this little like oh, it's not going to show the pop-up here, but when you click on this up here, it's not going to show you, but it has a little window that just shows you how it works. And it gives you an option to like buy me a coffee, or if you want to support me for free with no cost to you, just like subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is where you're probably watching this now, or subscribe to my Trello newsletter at trello.substack.com. And those are like great ways to support me if you're like, yeah, this is great, but I can't really pay you for it. Honestly, just subscribing to my newsletter and my YouTube channel is like still very, very helpful for me. But if you can't afford it and you think this is useful, feel free to buy me a coffee too, because or a Celsius, because caffeine is what keeps the building going. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's what I've got to share. Are there any questions of any comments, thoughts, concerns, feature requests? Other Chrome extensions you'd like me to see if I can try to build?
I think this one's so brilliantly simple yet so useful. It's and I think my man Andy made the point in the review he left on the Chrome store.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Why hasn't Trello done this? And you as you said, it's in the mobile app, but it's not in
Yes.
the desktop example. I mean, would you see that as a good result? That as a result of you creating this Chrome extension, the Trello guys just go and implement that natively?
I would. I know a lot of developers sort of think that like, oh man, is it okay if I build something and then Trello's going to go do it? Like, yes, please. I'm happy to, especially like I don't need any credit for it. If they want to go do this natively and support it, that's going to be better than like when, I don't know. Because the problem with me building this separately is now it's going to break when they maybe change like selectors, or, in a year from now, if they change the UI of checklists, it could break all of this. And I may or may not at that time have time to fix it. So to me, like, yeah, I mean, I guess a really cool win would be if Trello was like, hey, this is great. Thank you for doing this product research for us and validating that, 100 people wanted to use that. Or I don't know, maybe let's say we get, a lot of, I get more reviews and I get like, 10,000 people using it. It'd be cool if Trello was like, hey, we thank you for doing this product research for us. We're going to implement it now. And here's a small gift for your time you spent on it. I would not be sad about that. That would probably be my favorite of things. But even if they didn't do that, I mean, I think that's kind of it's sort of a risk you take, I think, developing on any sort of platform, that the platform will come and build their own sort of thing on top of it. But one, I also know folks enough at Trello, and I know kind of enough about the roadmap right now to know that this is not something that I think they're going to be focusing too much on. And so I'm not worried about that happening at all. But even if it did, I would count that as a win. This is not my this is not my livelihood. And if it served to do some product research and like kind of vet that, then honestly, I'd be happy to do some more of that so they can see like what kind of things people are wanting to use and where it's worth investing time and such.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if you were sort of monetizing this, it'd be different. But the fact that you're kind of doing this because it's solved a problem, um, I guess, yeah, it gives visibility to some of the things in the Trello UI that they could, with their resources, easily fix. So it's
Yeah,
again
yeah,
benefiting
exactly.
the as
Like,
a whole.
yeah, like I mean, I definitely empathize too with like, the power up developers who like that is kind of their livelihood too. And it's, but also, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because like that's unfortunate at the end of the day, the risk you take kind of developing on a platform. And I mean, I don't have any insider information about Trello and checklist items, but I can only assume there are reasons that they haven't decided to invest here so far. And maybe they will in the future, maybe they won't. But I mean, I don't know. I think I have more of a fear of not enough development on Trello than too much development on
Yeah,
Trello. So I think that kind of shapes to a lot of my thoughts on it is like I'd rather develop this and then they develop it because I'd rather too many people building things than not anyone building things. But that also does make it tough for those who are doing the building and need to monetize that. um, Finding the right trade-off with that works. Not all of us can be Butler, where we build a really cool power up or something on top of Trello and then they acquire it. But I don't know. I love that idea, and I kind of wish they would do a little bit more of that. I know that like the Atlassian like ventures, there used to be sort of stuff where you'd get money for sort of and support for building a power up, and like I don't know. It feels like that could be a natural progression to. I don't see Trello ever going that way, but I think it would be super cool if they invested in some sort of program that's like, we want to help you. We can't build right now too much on top of Trello, but we want to support you being able to build and like nurture that. And then yeah, at some point, if like we see enough takes off, we can, compensate you for that or something. Um, that is purely speculative and desire. I have literally zero insider information that leads me to think
yeah.
that's happening. What at least should
I
say
do think
here.
there will come a time when they do lean back on developers for Trello in terms of, especially when there's APIs for inbox and looking for kind of bringing things into the inbox from different sources. So I think that the power ups they will kind of, having been ignored for a while, they'll come back into play, but with a different context in the future. But
For
it
sure.
still leaves opportunities for things like this and other Chrome extensions because there are a few UI gaps in Trello. And this is just, I mean, checklists are one of the most popular features within Trello, and whether Trello like it or not, like I can't think of anyone who doesn't use them. So
Yeah.
making people's lives just a tiny bit easier, I mean, there's a win for all your users. And if you've got happy users,
Yeah.
they're going to continue to remain users.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, and I'm sure that they will find and see different sort of things like that. Alicia mentioned this is useful for managing like when you're working with multiple people in a board and having, you know, three checklists. So like having automations that build in the checklist, but like copying over a template that may have multiple, but you really only actually need one. So being able to like, just stick with the yeah, copy this all over, but like I actually don't need that. So just minimize those rather than trying to figure out the one-offs. Um, that's a good use case that works too. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to I think my full time job work day that does pay the bills. But I
Yeah,
wanted to thank you all for joining. I wanted
unless
to share
someone
this.
comes up with an idea in the next 2 minutes that distracts you for the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Until someone, yeah. And for real, add those Chrome extensions. Like I said, they're free. I'm not like collecting any data. I'm not even like getting your email or anything if you download it. So like if you can leave a review if you use it or add it, or subscribe to this channel or my newsletter, that's awesome. But also let me know. Both of those power ups have ways to submit requests for features. If you like have like a I wish it could do this or this isn't working for me, definitely let me know because it is a free project. I can't guarantee I will drop everything to go work on it, but there's a chance because of my curiosity I may.
Yeah, so the more interesting and exciting the request is, the more likelihood it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The more interesting and probably more complicated and feeling so impossible that it can't be done is more likely to be looked at.
Definitely.
So yeah, well, thank you everyone for joining, and yeah, comment below if you have any questions. I'll watch and respond back. But yeah, and thanks for joining, Mike. I appreciate you joining too for me to toot my own
That's
horn
all
and
right.
show my toys.
I enjoyed it. I enjoy the fact that I know what it's like to kind of pick up these little ideas and run with them. So it's and also the collapsing checklist is, I find that personally really useful. So really happy to
Yay!
enjoy
Yes.
and talk about that.
Yeah. I'm glad. I had a feeling like that one, and I can already tell just from the usage stats, like that one is getting more downloads and like that one's more useful. I think the random card one is a pretty niche use case that I think if I wanted more people to use, I'd have to figure out a bit more. But again, it scratched a very specific itch I had, and I was like, and if it works for others, go for it. But like, I mostly built that for myself. Checklist,
Yeah.
collapsing checklist is for everyone. So
Yeah, I'm
awesome.
going to share
Well,
it with a few people today actually because I think there's a few of my clients who can benefit from
yay.
that. So I'll send them the links
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh my gosh, I should set up some sort of referral program where I like send Trello stickers or something if you like get 5 people to use it or something. I don't know. That's next phase. That's next phase.